Hey guys, my name is Walt Impellicceiri. I'm an instructor at Tech Elevator in Pittsburgh. Today I want to answer the question, what programming language should I learn first? And that's a great question. There are hundreds of programming languages out there, and learning just one seems like a very daunting task. Honestly, I would start this with the easiest answer. Just pick one and go with it. And the reason I say that is because when you learn one language, oftentimes the syntax or at least the concepts from that language will carry over when you learn your next language. A lot of programming languages share a lot of things in common. And so again, once you learn one, it's probably going to be a lot simpler to learn the next one. So that's my easy answer. The next answer would be, maybe you're doing this to satisfy an interest. And if so, what is that interest? Are you trying to build a website? In which case I would say, start with JavaScript, maybe HTML, CSS as well, and that'll help you build a web application. If you're looking to build maybe a phone application or a mobile application in general, start with something like Swift for Apple devices, or Kotlin or Java for Android devices. Those are great choices. If you're looking to build something for an embedded system, maybe a Raspberry Pi, you could start with a number of different languages, Python, Java, C#. Let's say you're trying to build something that is just like scripting. For example, you want to manipulate files or folders on your computer. Then I would say start with PowerShell if you're on a Windows computer, or start with a Bash shell if you're on a Mac or a Linux. Bash can also run on Windows, so that's a great starting point if you want to write something that runs everywhere. Perl is another great all-purpose language that does really well in a scripting environment too. So those are all great scripting languages. Maybe you want to run something that controls a smart device, like your smart thermometer, for example. In which case, similar things to your Raspberry Pi. You could learn a Python, you could learn Java, C#, even JavaScript. Those all are the popular languages that often run on the cloud and can control smart devices. Another way to approach this question is, maybe you're trying to learn a language for a career switch. Maybe you're trying to obtain a job. In which case, I think going with your interest is a great starting point, but secondarily you might want to look at what the market is looking for. And what I mean by that is, what are the companies hiring for? What languages do they want you to know? There's a great community out there on Stack Overflow, which is a community of developers. And every year they put a survey out to their development community, asking them what languages they use on the job and maybe even in their free time. And so this is a great way to extrapolate what the industry is looking for. For the past 8 years, web technologies, and specifically JavaScript, has been at the top. And that makes sense because nowadays everybody has a website at a minimum. A lot of companies have a web application as their primary product, but many companies, if not all companies, have a website at least. So it makes sense why JavaScript is at the top. Following closely behind are things like Python, Java, and C#. And so those are more all-purpose languages used in a variety of different scenarios, and they're all very popular. So you really can't go wrong picking any one of those. If you're starting out and you're going to pick, Python or Java or C#, I would say Python is probably the easiest to pick up. But I would say if you can learn, if you want to dive right in and you can learn Java or C#, you may have an easier time learning the next language. And the reason I say that is because Java and C# are a little bit more restrictive. They have a bit more rules. And so if you can learn those rules and in those languages, then it's often easier to learn a different language that relaxes those rules, such as Python and especially JavaScript, which strongly relaxes rules. So that's a little bit of feedback. Hopefully that narrows the scope for you. I know I didn't come away with just one language, But hopefully this helps a little bit. As always, I want to thank you for letting me in on your coding journey. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them for me and I'll try to answer or respond to whatever I can. Thank you very much.